Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Wall Township Board of Education for Tuesday, December 17th. Please join me in saluting the flag. At this time, I'm going to ask our Board Secretary, Mr. Smythe, to please read the sunshine announcement and perform roll call.
Yes, this is the Wall Township Board of Education meeting for which adequate notice under the Open Public Meeting Act was provided by notice to the CoStar, Asbury Park Press, Township Clerk's Office, all Wall Township Public Schools, and a copy in the Board Administration Office on August 29, 2024. Take a roll call. Mr. Adnesio? Ms. Barbiere?
Here.
Mr. Buffa?
Here.
Ms. G. Giovanni? Here. Mr. Maliff?
Here.
Mr. Nasser?
Here.
Ms. Shimko? Mr. Wondrak? Here. Ms. Stites?
Here. At this time, may I please have a motion for the board to adjourn to executive session for the items listed on the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Maliff, may I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Mr. Wondrak, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We have one opposition? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Nasser.
No.
At this time, the board will be adjourning for executive session. We anticipate returning for public session at 7 p.m. Good evening, everyone. At this time, we're going to be reconvening the Wall Township Board of Education business meeting for Tuesday, December 17th. Please join me in saluting the flag. At this time, I would ask everyone to join me in a moment of silence and reflection for the victims of the school shooting in Madison, Wisconsin yesterday. Thank you. There really are no words to describe the horror and the sadness that we feel for the families affected. At this time, I would like to ask the board for a motion to accept. Oh, I beg your pardon. Mr. Smythe, please do roll call.
Mr. Anizio? Here. Ms. Barbier?
Here.
Mr. Buffa?
Here.
Ms. DiGiovanni?
Here.
Mr. Maliv?
Here.
Mr. Nasser?
Here.
Mr. Wondrak?
Here.
Ms. Stites?
Here. Thank you. At this time, I would like to ask the board for a motion to accept the resignation of Pamela Shimko, which was tendered on December 11th, 2024. May I have
I'll
a
make a motion.
Mr. Buffa? Second. Ms. DiGiovanni? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. As many of you know, Wall Township has a long tradition of supporting our students in the arts. At this time, I'm going to be turning the floor over to Dr. Handerhan for something special that our students did for our other students.
One of the greatest things is to see examples of students supporting other students. And this was actually, I was provided a link to this short video that I'd like to share this evening. And it is, it's produced by our television students, and it is a tribute to our school musicians. And I think it's an absolutely wonderful example of our students supporting each other. So without any further ado, I would like to share this video with you.
Junior. I would say one of my favorite parts of the football games are seeing the band during halftime. After we're standing up and cheering for so long, it's nice to sit down and relax and hear something comforting and exciting and school spirit. So I love them personally.
What's up? I'm Christian Suki, also known as C-Money. I'm a part of the soccer team, and I also go to the football games a lot at Wall High School, and I just love seeing the band, especially my two guys, Brandon Risco and Aiden Denton. I love seeing them out there because the football games are already exciting, but the band adds an extra level of excitement. So big shout out to all the band. Thank you guys so much.
I'm Heath Reinhardt. I play football. Wyatt Capro, football. Nick Rogers, football. We want to say we appreciate the band for getting us hype every game. Sometimes the student section can't do it, and the band does. Shout out Mike Coplin, my guy.
Shout out Mr. Take That Risk, Risco.
Shout out all you guys. Thank you.
Hi, we're from the lacrosse team. We appreciate you guys making the pep rallies and football games so fun.
Yay! Hi, I'm Ella. I'm from the lacrosse team.
And I'm Callie. I'm from the track team.
We just wanted to thank you guys for making the football games so fun. We always look forward to your halftime performances.
We're a bunch of student athletes at Wall High School, some football players, lacrosse player, and we wanted to let the band know we appreciate them and everything they do, and they bring a lot of energy to the field, and it's important to us.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Mason.
And we are the track captains, and we just want to say that we're so appreciative of you guys from the band, and it wouldn't be high school without you guys.
You guys are truly one of a kind.
So Wall TV Production got together to make sure that our musicians in the marching band felt appreciated. Certainly, over the years, we have, I hope they realize how much we respect and love them for all the effort that they put forth throughout the year. Their efforts are always appreciated. Obviously, our musicians for the marching band start their work well early in the summer in order to be prepared for our football season, and that work continues throughout the year as they participate in orchestras for our shows and their own performances. They're tremendously dedicated, and I will say, as a former band parent, very quite simply, I'm sorry for what happened at their performance at the Thanksgiving game, and I think a simple apology that the performance was interrupted. I am truly sorry that that happened, but that in no way reflects how we feel about them and their dedication, and I'm thrilled that our high school students also recognized that they needed to be recognized with this video and that they were willing to participate. I think it speaks a lot to how much they are revered and honored within their high school community. So I don't want to lose sight of that. So that's going to be the completion of our student showcase for this evening. At this time, I'm going to be opening the floor for public comment. If you have something to share, we have a podium at the top of the stairs and down here at the floor, so please feel free.
Good evening. Andy Krupa. I am a Wall resident and still a parent of a Wall student. So it's no secret tonight is a special night. It's Christine and Adam's last meeting of a long time service to the board and to the community. And myself and some of the other board members, we felt it was important to come out tonight and to say thank you for the experience that we had on the board with both of you. And in some humble way to say thank you for the whole community. You've led with integrity, honor, and commitment, which is something in this time and age because it's very easy to criticize and have second opinions or other opinions, and you give up so much of your time, and I just felt it was important that you hear that from one of the people that served with you, but also one of the people that has benefited from your service. And I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, but also especially from my heart for my two students who went through the Wall system. And I wish all of you a happy holiday and hope that you continue with your board service because it's an honorable thing that you do. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Krupa.
Good evening. I'm sorry. Good evening. My name is Gail Marr, and I am the proud president of the Wall Township Education Association. The Wall Township Education Association, the WTEA, is dedicated to supporting its members and the Wall Township community, addressing both the educational and emotional needs for students and their families. Recognizing the financial struggles many face, specifically in our district, the WTEA has proactively sought assistance for families right here in our town. The Wall Township Education Association has applied for a grant from the Perricone Family Charitable Trust, a local foundation committed to charitable initiatives. We are thrilled to announce that our grant application was approved, providing us with $12,400 to assist nearly 160 Wall Township families during this holiday season. This funding will help ensure that families can put food on the table and buy needed clothing for their children, highlighting our commitment and the Perricone family's commitment to the well-being of our students and their families. The WTEA would like to extend our gratitude to Mr. Jeff Janarone for his invaluable assistance regarding the Perricone Family Trust Foundation. Just 3 weeks ago, Jeff proposed this initiative, demonstrating his commitment to our community. Without his suggestion, the grant would not have been submitted, and consequently, it would not have been granted. We would like to express our gratitude to Philip and Marilyn Perricone, who established this charitable trust, for their ongoing commitment to supporting families in need and brightening the holidays for those less fortunate. Phil and Marilyn Perricone resided in Wall Township for over 40 years and were well-respected entrepreneurs and beloved members of the Jersey Shore community. Their sons, Rob and Chris, both attended Central School, Wall Intermediate, and were Wall High School graduates. Phil and Marilyn passed away in 2024, as did Chris several years before them. Rob, who is with us today, shares his parents' passion for service and philanthropy and looks forward to continuing their legacy through projects such as tonight's donation. Together, we hope that this will make a meaningful impact in our community, and we would like again to humbly express our thanks to all those involved in the Perricone Family Charitable Trust this evening. Jamie Lynn, Kathy, Allie, Tiffany, and myself, and the entire Wall Township Education Association would like to wish everyone in the community a happy and blessed holiday season. Rob.
Hi, good evening. I'm Rob Imperato, Wall High School class of '89. I am Phil and Marilyn's son. This is a tough time of year. My parents loved Christmas, and as Gail mentioned, this is the first year without them. And so they always are always on the lookout for families who always struggle this time of year. And they always very quietly work behind the scenes to make sure people had a brighter Christmas season. So I'm honored to be here tonight. I'm proud to represent my family. They're here in spirit. They would have loved this tonight. Thanks to Jeff and Gail and the union for their assistance, and all of you for having us tonight. I wish you all a very happy holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and what a beautiful gesture on behalf of your family, and a great way for their legacy to continue. So thank you very much.
Betsy Cross, yeah, that was great. Thank you so much for the donation. I'm here tonight to talk about a couple things, and I'm kind of glad to see that it is the last meeting for Christine Stites and Adam Nasser. So I am quite happy about that. I am sad that Pam Shimko is resigning. That's too bad. I think honor, integrity, I don't know. I just don't see it. So I'm glad the two of you are leaving. I did get back today in Oprah for a claim that was put into the school excess liability fund. It was from the 2008-2009 school year, and it was for a claimant, S. Young. So, Wall paid out $1,545,358.60 through the school excess fund. Why that took 15 years to settle, I have no idea. And why Craig Klein took 7 days and he sent it at 4:55. Couple other claims. On the diploma GIF, where Brian is a voting trustee, and the attorney is Wall's attorney, Dennis McKeever. A claim for C. Lou for $68,966 LI. And then it looks like another $100,000 to C. Lou, and then A. Marion, A-M-A-R-I-O-N, for $100,000. That was the 23-24 school year. And then 24-25 was J. Pagano, $70,011. So how we settle a claim in 24-25 before we settle a lawsuit from 2008, 2009, I have no idea. I also did not see the Central School Trailer lawsuit anywhere, which makes me wonder how many lawsuits are being handled by Mr. Smythe, because he would know about them, and Tracy Handerham would probably know about them. Christine Stites may know about them, but that nobody else knows. And we're shelling out money to people that sue, and then it gets hidden. And it gets hidden from Athena Cornell, and it gets hidden from Brian Smythe, and it just goes on and on. So that's why you should come out of all these GIF programs, the school access programs, and be done with it. Mr. Smythe is, to me, he's a liar and a fraud, and everything that happened with the trailers will eventually, it will come out. So I'm glad the two of you are off the board. I hope, you know, it's probably going to be James Maliff. I hope he does a better job as president than Christine Stites. The audit report was still not online tonight. It just goes on and on, the lack of transparency and the lack of accountability.
Thank you, Mrs. Cross. Your time is up.
Thank you. And
Thank you.
And so is yours.
Thank you, Mrs. Cross. Not quite yet. Do we have anyone else for public comment at this time?
Hi, my name is Chris Sanfilippo. I live in Wall Township. I came in here and I felt like it was Old Timers Day at Yankee Stadium. I wanted to come in person to thank Christine and Adam, and of course the board for all of your work throughout the year. I missed you guys this year. It's so nice to see all the smiling and happy faces. I want to say, as a board member who had the pleasure to serve with Adam and Christine for a number of years, I think 5, 6 years, you guys should be very proud of the work that you've done. You should hold your heads high. The heart and the hard work and the effort that you put forth, that I've witnessed and seen firsthand, is commendable. And I want to say that I thank you, having 3 kids in the district, and the community, and our staff and our administration and all of the kids in the district. I will say thank you on behalf of all of them. I think when you walk out the doors this evening, you're going to have some breath and sigh of relief, and you're also going to have some breath and sigh of nostalgia. So you can sit there and enjoy that over the holidays. And it's a mixed bunch of feelings when you sort of serve out your terms, right? And in an honorable fashion. So I just wanted to thank you. The other thing, I always have to have a joke. I'm also very happy that our drone that we have at the high school was not taken away as it was proposed a couple years ago. I'm so glad that it's flying all over New Jersey and causing a whole bunch of chaos. But no, anyways, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, and thank you again.
Thank you.
I'm a different person now. I am Gail Marr. I am a resident of Wall Township and a teacher, and I just want to thank Adam and Christine. Christine and I go back, way back to meeting at St. Michael's Church when things were bad here under the reign of the previous superintendent. And she could always be counted on whatever role that she put herself into, and we will miss you. And you were so good for this school district. We just want to thank you.
Thank you. All right, do we have anyone else for public comment? Seeing none, I'll be closing the floor for public comment at this time. Mr. Smythe.
Just for clarification, some of the statements that were made in public comment with regard to a settlement paid out by Wall Township Schools for $1.5 million, that is not accurate. School district was not in a settlement. School district has not paid out or is not going to be paying out a settlement of $1.5 million. That is erroneous. This is a separate entities meeting, and I honestly don't believe it's a settlement. It was I think its reference was a payment authority with regard to, it could be for a number of different issues. With regard to the other listing of individuals, which some of them are employees of the district, they could be worker comp cases. But again, those are not settlements that were being referenced. Those are spending authorities by the Joint Insurance Fund, which, yes, I am a member. Just for additional clarification, the JIF is made up of all the school districts that are members of the Joint Insurance Fund, and you would have to be from one of the school districts to be a trustee on the JIF. Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification, Mr. Smythe, of the erroneous information presented. And at this time, we will not be having a student representative report this evening. So at this time, I'm going to turn the floor over to Dr. Handerhan to present and introduce our audit.
Thank you, Ms. Stites. It is our absolute pleasure to have the district auditor here this evening, Mr. Matt Hallman. And again, this audit discussion is rooted in 2023, 2024. I would like to make that clarification. And I'm going to turn the floor over to our very capable and abled auditor. Mr. Hallman.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I was a partner on the engagement this year. My firm is HFA. And hopefully everybody has the sizable audit reports. Maybe not currently present, but hopefully you've received them at this point. About up to 200 pages, so I hope everybody got a chance to read through. We will, I'm just going to touch on a couple of the important pieces in that audit so that when you go back to reference that, you can have some highlights to look at there. First item of importance, the district was once again awarded the Certificate of Excellence. This will show up on page 11 in the audit report. This comes from the National ASBO Association. They reviewed the audit report, and what they really look for is any inconsistencies, any incorrect applications of GAAP presentations, so generally accepted accounting principles throughout the report. They will come back and they will comment, and if there's any that they find to be material in nature, they won't give this award out. So it's a pretty prestigious award. You go through a lot of, it's a lot of review of that report at different levels. Above and beyond what we do, once it's sent to them, there's 31 current districts that receive this out of the 606 in New Jersey. So pretty nice accolade there. Moving on from that, you get to really the first piece of that report that we offer the district as auditors, and that's the independent auditor's report. You'll find this on pages 15 through 17. The opinion that's presented on page 15 is an unmodified opinion. This is the best opinion that could be rendered for a school district in New Jersey. Really means that we had to make no modifications to the standard auditor's report. If we did find any issues throughout the audit that we felt were material to the financial statements that were presented to us, then we would have to make a modified opinion. And that's not the case here. You have an unmodified opinion in this case. You can see our report is dated November 8th of 2024. It's nice to get back on track. We did not have to wait for state numbers this year, so we were able to finally really get back into a good pattern. And you're seeing me a lot earlier than you have in the past couple years anyway, which is nice for me and hopefully good for the district as well. So moving on from that report, another page I always like to highlight in the audit, you'll find the C exhibits. And why I point you to these exhibits, these are really the most informative day-to-day exhibits. These work off of the annual budget that the district works on putting out every year. And you can see your budget to actual results presented here in the audit. You'll see that on pages 97 to 109. And I would always point, if anybody's looking for how that budget really worked out throughout the year, those are the pages that you're going to want to see. And it's the C1 exhibit that's in that report. That's really important there. Moving past that, you'll see, once you get to the bottom of that C1 exhibit on page 105, there's fund balance numbers that are presented here. You can see as of June 30th, 2024, the district closed the year with a capital reserve of $9.9 million, a maintenance reserve of $1.3 million, an emergency reserve of $282,000, a reserve for unemployment claims of $304,000, year-end encumbrances of $1.1, monies that have been designated for the 24-25 school year budget of $1.5 million, and that left the district with an unassigned fund balance of $1.8 million at the end of the year, which is under the allowable amount. So the district had no excess surplus at 6/30/24 to report. On the next page, you'll see a change a couple years ago. On page 106 at the bottom of the C2 exhibit, if you're looking for this information, maybe you've seen it in the past, it used to be presented as trust fund schedules. Scholarship balance, you'll now see at the bottom here, page 106, there's $36,000 sitting as a scholarship balance. Your student activities are also presented here now, and there's $307,000 presented as student activity balance at the bottom of C2. New for this year, or it was in the audit last year, but really first year that you had a lot of activity here, on page 141, you'll see your balance regarding the open capital project that you have right now. There was an original appropriation of $66,599,000 from the referendum. The prior expenditures going into this year, there was $453,774. Currently, in the 23-24 year, you had $6.1 million in expenditures, and that left an unexpended balance on page 141 of $59,953,747. And again, remember, this is as of June 30th to 24, so I'm sure that's already spent down quite a bit. All right, and then the last thing I wanted to mention in the audit report, there's two other opinions that our firm is giving. One has to do with the internal controls of the school district, and if we have any issues as we go through the audit and all of our testing that's done, if we come across problems that we consider to be significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in the internal processes, this is where those would be reported. So you would see that on pages 189 through 190 of the report. And again, I'm happy to note here, we had no issues that needed to rise to being included in this report. It's an unmodified report, which means we did no modifications to the standardized report that you'll see throughout many districts. The other opinion that you have is for your reports on uniform guidance. Uniform guidance is a newer term, used to be called single audits, if you remember that language. Once you spend over $750,000 in state funding or federal funding, a single audit will kick in on your grant funds. So we did have to perform a state single audit and a federal single audit. On the federal side, the Education stabilization funds were tested this year. On the state side, the extraordinary aid reimbursement and the TPAF Social Security contributions were selected for testing. Again, I'm happy to note that that's an unmodified opinion on both of those reports, and we had to make no modifications, and that's the cleanest opinion that can be rendered for a school district. There was one comment that we had in our internal control report from the prior year that had to do with transfers in excess of 10%. I'm also happy to report that that prior year finding has been corrected in the current year, and we no longer have that as an issue for the district. All right, other than that, I just really wanted to thank the business office. We put them through a lot of testing. We go through a lot of different support documentation there, and they are always a pleasure to work with. And we also would like to thank the board for having us perform the audit. And is there any other questions for tonight?
At this time, I'm going to be asking members of the board who have any questions to please direct them to the auditor at this time. Any? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to be opening the floor for public comment. For folks who have commentary on the audit or questions on the audit, after which time, when I close the floor for public comment, we will be asking our auditor to please answer any questions or make clarifications as possible. So if you don't mind, we're just going to borrow that podium for just a moment. And we again have the microphone at the top of the stairs and the bottom. Do we have anyone for public comment on the audit?
Betsy Cross, glad to see you're actually taking questions and not getting escorted out by Dawn Choma, which you normally are. It's difficult to ask questions when you don't have the audit. So I've been writing you for days and you never posted the audit. Could you go over what specific items you went over? I think you just said you did a lot of testing. What type of testing? Could you just go over? Did you look at any bids? I know back in 2019, when we saw all the irregularities with the trailers, we asked to look over the bidding because it was a bunch of lies when it was told they were using co-op vendors. They got around the bidding laws. They had bids come in at $33,500 when the architect came in and said it would be $151,000. So those were things that your office should have been doing that you just never did. So Mr. Smythe, I know, never would have allowed that. But everything that you looked at, there was a problem with the trailers from the purchase to the demo. And that nonsense of what Wall got, it doesn't even make any sense unless you went over attendance and all these other items and bidding. So what samples did you pull? And when you said they corrected what they did wrong last year, what did they do wrong last year? Because I know they've gotten written up in the past for not getting proper bids. You just go to your friend, your husband's in the business, you go to him, the kid goes to West Belmore, you give the business to him, and then Mr. Smythe says, well, don't go in the building, just do your quote based on square footage. Right, Mr. Smythe? That's what we did with the trailers. So I'd like you to go over very specifically what you did this year and why in the world weren't we able to see it. I know you also changed cost per pupil. And if I take cost per pupil, operating expenditures of $78,831,000 and add back in unallocated benefits and the pension of $33 million, the cost per student last year was $35,704. And that got changed in 2020. You started just pulling everything out. And I think Brian always said, oh, we had to do it that way. No, you didn't have to do it that way. It just makes your numbers look better. We're spending way too much money. We're increasing staff by 30%, and we've reduced students by like 33% since 2006. So something isn't right. This district is not doing a good job under Brian Smythe as the business administrator. So it's obvious when you won't share the audit, when the board won't share it,
Thank you,
there's an
Mrs.
issue.
Cross. Your time is up.
Thanks.
Do we have anyone else who would like to contribute to public comment on the audit? Seeing none, I'm going to close the floor for public comment regarding the audit. At this time, if there are any questions regarding this audit or any kind of clarifications that you'd like to make, please feel free to do so.
Yeah, I can definitely answer some of that. I did hear a couple questions in there. The testing procedure that we use is, it's a pretty comprehensive process. It takes us about 30 different documents to process that throughout the audit, and it's part of our planning documents that go into it. But I can tell you, in a summarized fashion, we use a risk-based audit. If we had all the resources in the world, we would look at every document that the district has that's not feasible. The district couldn't pay for that. It wouldn't make sense. We use a risk-based audit approach. In that approach, we look at the controls of the district. It's a control process audit. If we are in an area where we find a higher risk, we're certainly going to go into that area and look at that. Now, that being said, one of the areas that we do test for compliance, which is a state compliance issue, is your bidding. And every year we pull a sample of bids that happen throughout the district. Once again, we're not looking at every bid that the district does, but in our testing for the compliance of the bids, there has been no issues noted through the years that we've been here. Outside of that, once you get through the internal control testing that we do to establish the controls, there's also analytical procedures that are applied. So when you look at things from a year-to-year basis, you analytically are reviewing all of the documentation that's in this report that's given to us. These are not our numbers, these are the district's numbers in this report, and we are essentially opining that there is no material misstatements of the numbers that are presented to the district in this case. As far as the cost per pupil, that I can kind of address. That's a J schedule. That's actually an unaudited figure. But still, when when we had taken over the audit, I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago, the on behalf TPAF pension amounts were running through the expenditures. And at that point in time, those were removed from the expenditures because they are an in and out for the school district. It's a state figure. It doesn't have to do with the expenditures of the school district. So when we changed that amount 5 or 6 years ago, yes, your cost per pupil that's shown on that J exhibit did dip, but it's been consistent since that change was made 5 or 6 years at this point. It's been the same.
That's what I said last month, by the way, Mr. Holman. You just said it a lot better.
Attendance, I do not do much with attendance other than we do check the district's ASSA reporting, which happens on October 15th every year. We do test to make sure that the attendance that is taken on that day ties to the records that are provided to the state, and that's what a lot of the funding for the state aid is based on. So yes, we do test it in some manner.
Thank you. Ms. Cornell?
Please stop calling out. You had your time. We appreciate it. That's the protocol of the meeting. Thank you. You've asked your question. Thank you. As has he's responded already. Thank you so much.
Mr. Holman? Okay, thank you, Mrs. Cross. Enough. 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 We're not entertaining this.
Mr. Holman, if I can go out on a limb and
Please.
clarify that this was not prearranged, but you audit a lot of school districts from an organizational standpoint, working in our office, the way records are maintained, and how would you rate our district with regard to performing an audit here?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly audit about, we have between 35 and 40 school districts that we audit on an annual basis. I would say this certainly is one of the cleaner audits that we do, and I base that around the amount of comments and recommendations that the districts receive through the time that we've done this, and just generally through the amount of non-compliance issues that have been found while we're doing our audits.
Or not found. Thank you.
Thank you. This time, Mr. Smythe, do you have any clarifications that you would like to make?
No, that's okay.
Can I make a quick
Thank
clarification?
you. Mr. Nasser?
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt. This has been addressed before in the past, but I do want to make sure that I say it again. When you look at the staffing levels at our district versus other districts, it's important to make sure that you have a apples-to-apples comparison. We are a school district that barely outsources any services. Our transportation's in-house, our custodial maintenance is in-house, our food service is in-house, our RAP program's in-house. Everything is in-house. Those employees show up on our employee rolls. When you look at other districts, a significant portion of them have their food service outsourced. They have their buses outsourced. They have all these services outsourced, and when you look at the amount of employees they have versus all the services they deliver, it doesn't match up because it shows up as an operational expense, not as a staffing expense. So I do urge everybody to go in with open eyes and make sure that if you're gonna look at comparisons, make sure that you're comparing to a similar district. Thank you.
Thank you,
And-
Mr. Nasser.
Madam President?
Yes.
So with regard to comparing ourselves to, I guess we're going back to 2006 to have enrollment of 4,415 students. And when making that comparison, I can tell you in 2006, the reporting was different than it is today. There was a class of positions within the district, namely the co-curricular and athletic stipend positions that have been included in the annual audit for a number of years now that were not included in 2006. So you have over 200 positions that are now being recorded that were not. I think also, and again, apples to apples, within your same school district, that you would have to look at the programs, both general ed and special ed, that are being offered today as compared to in 2006. And they're just more intensive programs, smaller class sizes for those programs, which require additional staff. I can say with regard to staffing that we have reduced teaching staff levels by more than 20 positions just in the last 2 years. Going back to 2006, it's an apples-to-apples comparison, and there's staff that are not reported then that are being reported now.
Thank you for those clarifications. I think that's really important for members of our community to kind of get a little bit of a bigger picture so that they are not confused or misled by manipulation of numbers. So, please stop yelling out. Try hard. Try. Does the board have any more questions before we let Mr. Holman leave us? I would like to thank you for your efforts on behalf of the Board of Education, and thank you for the audit. And I will mention that the audit will be, once the board approves it, placed online for a full review. As it stands right now, the 3-page synopsis as required is posted online. That is a requirement. But typically, the board has the opportunity to have the audit presented to them and digested in whole and approved prior to presenting that, or rather to posting it online. And that is typical and appropriate, regardless of what might be subjected or suggested. And I'd like to congratulate the award and the certification from ASBO again. That's really very important and impressive. So congratulations to our business office. We're very proud of those efforts.
And just clarification on that, the award is the 22-23 audit, and this audit will be submitted, but included in this audit is the certificate awarded for the prior year audit.
Thank you. I believe that's going to complete our presentation for this evening.
Thank you, everyone. Happy holidays.
Dr. Handerhan.
Thank you so much, Ms. Stites. Tonight is a bit difficult. It's a difficult evening for me because we officially bid our farewells to two dynamic and committed Board of Education members, Mr. Adam Nazar and Board President Christine Stites. Since his appointment to the Wall Township Public Schools Board of Education in September 2019, Mr. Adam Nazar was a man on a mission. Right out of the gate, he was actively engaged in the superintendent search. I will never forget his probing questions asked during my many interviews for this position. Mr. Nazar, the answer is 198 acres. The Wall BOE owns 198 total acres of land in Wall Township. You see, during the interview process, Mr. Nazar asked me this question. I had no idea how many acres the district owned, and it was certainly apparent through the interview. Mr. Nazar indicated to me that if I were a superintendent candidate, I should have a good understanding of the school district of which I am applying. I mention this mini vignette because I believe this very detailed question not only spoke to the amount of research regularly conducted by Mr. Nazar, but it spoke to the degree of his expectations. In hindsight, I now understand the seemingly random question spoke volumes. 5 years later, I now view his question as a multifaceted symbol. Thank you, Mr. Nazar. Throughout our time together, Mr. Nazar has demonstrated tremendous leadership as former Vice President of the Board of Education and Chair of Finance and Facilities. His expertise with finance and facilities has made such a positive and indelible impression on the school district. This community needs to know that Mr. Nazar worked tirelessly on referendum planning and implementation. His forward-thinking approach has helped to develop a solid foundation for us to build upon, both literally and figuratively. Students 20 years from now and beyond will still be benefiting from your focus on future planning. Know that these efforts have not gone unnoticed or unappreciated. So where do I begin with Board President Christine Stites? Christine Stites was a familiar face in the schools prior to her joining the Board of Education in January 2020. For many years, she supported our schools as a member and leader in the Old Mill Holman School and as a PTO leader. She worked tirelessly to enhance programming and experiences for not only her children, but all of the school children. Through these experiences, she gained tremendous insight into school operations, and time again, she demonstrated great respect for school employees. I believe it is during this time where she was compelled by personal conviction to take the next step as a leader. Ms. Stites' journey from PTO leader to the Board of Education member reminds me of a quote by anthropologist Margaret Mead. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, concerned citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. Throughout our time together, I have learned that Ms. Christine Stites is not one to sit back and complain about a problem. She is the special type of individual who wants to be part of a solution. As Ms. Stites transitioned to her role as Board of Education President 2 years ago, I have seen true courageous leadership and creative problem solving. She has given 150% to her presidency, and I am sure she would have given more if the 24-hour day were expanded. She sought clarity in times of chaos and has always chosen integrity over the path of least resistance. WTPS has been so fortunate to have had such an impassioned and articulate leader as our BOE president for the last 2 years. I believe the beauty of our Board of Education is that it's comprised of different individuals with different backgrounds and different experiences. This diversity of perspective has truly galvanized our schools, and we are a stronger school district because of it. Tonight, we wish Mr. Nazar and Ms. Stites the very best on their next endeavors, and on behalf of our school community, I wish to extend our heartfelt gratitude for their service and for their dedication to Wall Township Public Schools. On a personal note, thank you so much for all of your hard work, your stamina, your grit, your resilience, your encouragement, and most of all, your leadership. You will both be missed.
Well, thank you. That is amazing, and it has been a pleasure. I'm going to be moving into the President's report. Bear with me as I collect myself. As always, I would like to start the President's report by recognizing our certificate students, starting with the November 2024 Students of the Month. For grade 9, Liliana Rizzo. For grade 10, Griffin Cook. For grade 11, Gavin Cartinella. And for grade 12, Ava Tesoriero. Our Nights of the Week, starting for November 4th, we have junior Abigail Kingman. For the week of November 11th, we have Christian Benyola, a senior. For the week of November 18th, we have junior Brianna Gaunt. And for the week of November 25th, we have senior Sydney Epp. Congratulations to those students. I'm sure your families, as always, are incredibly proud, and the Board of Education thanks you for your citizenship and stewardship within the schools. I would also like to publicly thank Adam Nasser for the countless hours he has invested in living his role as a board member and committee chair. He has represented us with the Monmouth County School Board and also served a term as the vice president of our board. He's been dedicated to understanding legislation that governs public school systems, has spent considerable time training to gain certified board member status, and perhaps most notably worked diligently to help pass the referendum. Our district is stronger thanks to his focus and leadership. His fellow board members have grown thanks to the perspectives he has shared, and I hope he will one day enjoy the fruits of his labors when he brings his own children into the doors of our schools. It is important that I also emphasize the contributions of the board members who served throughout my tenure on the board so our community can appreciate the value and diversity of talent we have enjoyed over the past 5 years. Misters Hall, Gartz, Krupa, Sanfilippo, and Mrs. Mangan and Ms. Hodnett all brought strengths in areas including education, business, and community service. The accomplishments of our district have been the result of collective efforts. No one person has ever accomplished anything on his or her own. I appreciate the wisdom and efforts of those persons, and I'm thrilled that several of them are here this evening. I did not know that they were going to be attending, so it's great having you back. To our current board, my colleagues who continue the journey forward, I wish continued strength, optimism, and focus. Our district is poised to move into exciting initiatives that I'm confident will advance our students as scholars and fellow citizens. I encourage you to continue the nonpartisan, cooperative approach that we have worked hard to maintain. I will continue to support your efforts, and I know you will continue working hard. To the incredible members of the Wall Township Public School System, I hope I have made my respect and admiration for your efforts and talent known throughout my service to the board. It has always been a priority of mine that the interests in advancing our staff be at the forefront of our minds when deciding how to shape our district. I hope you have a chance to read the email that I sent to you that hopefully takes the time to express at least part of my gratitude to you all. Unfortunately, I would love to have rolled into the end of this meeting on a high note, but unfortunately, I do have some difficult topics to present. For our Wall community, I encourage you to examine the culture you expect for our children to experience in our schools. Those expectations must be modeled for our students by adults in the community. Unfortunately, there are people who continue to misconstrue and manipulate information, often presenting false information as fact. These behaviors have continued to escalate, and we must acknowledge the negative impact they are having on our district. This month, Shortly after, excuse me. Shortly after the execution of the United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, one vocal member of our community echoed the words that were allegedly found on the bullets at the scene: deny, defend, depose, on a post to social media that started with the words delay, deny, defend. We have crossed the lines of inappropriate. We have crossed well beyond rudeness. We are now well within the dark arena of psychosis and mental illness that allowed a person to justify murder. These words are no coincidence. They were chosen deliberately within a day of an execution committed in broad daylight, broadcast across a world stage. I cannot begin to fathom the justification for posting these words, followed by a tirade against the Board of Education and a board employee. There is now concern among members of the district that it is a call to commit violence. At this time, I'm going to ask our attorney to detail our contact with law enforcement, and then I will detail the steps the district has taken thus far to ensure the safety of our students and staff. Ms. Cornell.
In response to what was posted as a threat to a member of the school community, the board has taken that one threat to one person means a threat to the community as a whole. You will notice at this meeting, despite holiday time, there are no students here in attendance. That was by design. Security has been increased at Board of Education meetings. A security detail has also been posted at the business office, both at taxpayer expense. And for those who have no business in and around the schools, the security has been so alerted. Any meetings open to the public will now have increased security, and we are also exploring avenues for holding some of those meetings off-site. In terms of law enforcement contacts, we have been in contact and communication with the Wall Township Board of Education, the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office, as well as the State Police and their threat analysis unit. To have the most current information with regard to these threats, very well aware in terms of our law enforcement community as well as our school community. So Ms. Cross, you're on notice to cease and desist what we consider to be a threat to our school community. We ask that you immediately cease this behavior, and otherwise we will be forced to continue to pursue our legal avenues, engage law enforcement, and also in the hopes of not only securing the safety of our students, our staff, and any others that are on school property at any time, as well as recouping what we hope to be the funds that the taxpayers are expending in response to your behavior. Thank you.
Immediately after being alerted to the post, the district redistributed available security personnel to the district administration offices. Once additional personnel were available in district, we also began staffing a security officer at the building. The cost of this step will be shouldered by the taxpayers. We have made the decision to excuse our student representatives and NNDCC cadets from the meeting tonight, and the administration must continue fleshing out the appropriate and safest steps moving forward. I urge our community at large to consider if this is the climate that we are hoping to cultivate in Wall. We need citizens who recognize the damage being done to speak up and demand better for our district. If our stakeholders expect the time and attention of the board and the school administration to be directed to advancing our students and not to entertaining singular members of the public, they need to speak. I'm not sure what it's going to take at this point. In spite of my deep concerns, however, I do have confidence in our superintendent, Dr. Handerhan, and support her fully as she leads the district through this most recent challenge. She deserves the utmost respect and support of our district. Dr. Handerhan is a leader who is unquestionably student-focused, staff-oriented, and community-minded. It has been my honor to sit on the board since she was hired and partner with her as she has constructed a new leadership chart, launched new curriculum initiatives, and developed a dynamic and sincere relationship with our community. It has been my pleasure to watch her blossom in this role and thrive in her position, and I look forward to continuing to support her as a member of the public, and I encourage people in our district to also advance their support to her. Again, I wish that moving into this meeting, this was more of a lighthearted message of gratitude. But I believe in this community. I've believed in this community since the time I sent my children to school here. The people who work in our schools and within this district, by and large, are excellent, excellent human beings. And I credit them for really advancing student interest. I think it's important that we reevaluate where we stand and recommit ourselves to establishing a culture of compassion, a culture of respect, a culture of integrity, and a culture of honor. This kind of posting and the general behavior on social media is reprehensible, and it is certainly not an example that we want any of our children to follow. We need to model what we expect for our children. We need to cultivate an environment that they will learn in and feel safe in, and we need to demonstrate how that's done. I do think that the board has made some really great advances in how we conduct our meetings, and I apologize that this meeting needed to take a little bit of a negative tone, but the taxpayer needs to know where their funds are being directed and why. And I do think that we need to pull up this behavior, we need to pull it up short, and we need to refocus moving into 2025. Again, I wish our board the very, very best. I know I will continue to support. I'm thrilled that we have previous board members that have come out. I think that's evidence of how much boards have worked as a team and will continue to do so. I look forward to having our new members join the team at the dais and moving forward, and I look forward to when we have our students back in our meetings when we can comfortably do so, because at the end of the day, that's what a school district is all about. So that is the completion of my president's report for this evening. At this time, I'm going to turn the floor back over to Dr. Handerhan.
Thank you so much, Ms. Stites. This month, I had the privilege of joining our district principals in announcing the Teachers and Educational Service Professionals of the Year. The Board of Education will formally recognize these educators at the January business meeting. But to hold us over to then, I wish to extend congratulations to Ms. Erica Lazinski and Ms. Karen O'Donnell from Wall Primary School, Ms. Christine Shanklin and Ms. Elizabeth Cross from Allenwood School, Ms. Kristen Wagner and Ms. Metria Toller from Central School, Mr. Joseph Fisco and Ms. Lisa Ventrella from Old Mill School, Ms. Allison Eberens and Ms. Lisa Tronalone from West Belmar School, Ms. Amy Noble and Ms. Michelle Sprengel from Wall Intermediate School, Mr. Justin Santiago and Mr. Brendan McDermott from Wall High School. 'Tis the season for amazing concerts throughout our district. Last week, I had the opportunity to attend the jazz concert at Wall Intermediate. Kudos to Mr. Montalto and the very talented musicians. If you hadn't had the opportunity to attend one of our amazing concerts, it's not too late. Wall High School will have a concert tomorrow night, and Central and Old Mill both have winter concerts in January. Please visit our website for more information. I'd also like to congratulate all of our student musicians and the students involved in preparing the video that we showed earlier in the meeting. Our marching band and all of our musicians, they work so incredibly hard. They're out there day, they're out there night, they're out there in rain, in snow, in frigid temperatures. They're truly part of the heartbeat of Wall High School, and it was really nice to see that they were recognized not just regularly by adults, but by their peers. So kudos to all that were involved in developing that small video. I would like to thank the Office of Special Services and volunteers for arranging the 3rd annual Polar Express Evening for Families. This annual event is yet another example of the care and commitment our special services team provides. I'd also like to congratulate Mr. Brian Smythe and the business office for once again earning the Certificate of Excellence. I can tell you that it is going through a full year audit. It is not a drive-by situation. There, weeks and weeks, the auditors are certainly, they're on site, they're reviewing our documents. It is a very thorough process, and I'm so proud of all that they do to, certainly manage the funds, but also, during the audit, I'm fortunate that I get to have a firsthand view up close and personal of how prepared they are for each and every audit. So my hat is off to them, and again, congratulations on earning the Certificate of Excellence. The holidays often evoke a spirit of giving, and I too would like to recognize the work of the WTEA in supporting WTPS families in need through the $12,400 grant from the Perricone Family Charitable Trust. So many of our families have directly benefited from the generosity of the Perricone Family Charitable Trust. Thank you, WTEA, Mr. Janarone, and Ms. Steiner, for all of your efforts in accomplishing this goal. I'm happy to announce that kindergarten registration for the 2025-26 school year will open on February 3rd, 2025, and preschool registration will open on February 18th, 2025. Our total district enrollment numbers for November 2024 are as follows. Pre-K, 73. Kindergarten, 228. First grade, 221. Second grade, 233. Third grade, 249. Fourth grade, 235. Fifth grade, 282. Sixth grade, 240. Seventh grade, 259. Eighth grade, 259. Ninth grade, 220. 10th grade, 219. 11th grade, 255. And 12th grade, 233. I wish to extend a happy holidays to the entire WTPS family, and I look forward to a sensational 225. Thank you. Ms. Stites?
Thank you. This time we're going to be moving into the Board of Education report. Mr. Nassar, do you have a referendum update for us?
I do. First off, let me take the opportunity to say thank you to everybody on the FNF committee, Dr. Handerhan, Mr. Smythe, Mr. Adonisio, and Ms. Stites. Your leadership during these past few years has been essential. We've gone through some ups, we've gone through some downs, but I am confident I am walking away knowing that the district is in a much better place than when I got here. And I think that is one of the most important things I've had the opportunity to do. I'd also like to say thank you to the community for standing behind the district. We really do have something to be proud of. Not just the students, the staff, but our entire community as a whole. It's a piece of it. I'd also like to thank our staff. Going through negotiations, I got to know a different side of things. And to Gail and the union, all of our teachers, our paras, our custodians, our drivers, food service workers, there's just so many that come in and bust their rears day in, day out to make sure that we have the best outcomes for our students. I'm honored to be able to say that I've been part of something that now I get to send my kids to as a parent, and I'm looking forward to that next chapter. So thank you to everybody. There wasn't much going on with the referendum work, so I had to fill the time with something. Our primary school, they started the windows over the last break. They're going to be finished hopefully over winter break. If not, it would continue into spring break or some after hours if needed. The tiling in the bathrooms, which I know is very important to Dr. Handrahan, is closing in on completion, and we had the opportunity to go through a few months ago, and it was just absolutely amazing how they've really come out. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the board does and the administration does after we're gone, because I'll be now sitting on the sidelines and on Facebook complaining. No, I love you all. Happy holidays. And again, it's been an honor. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'm going to ask our custodian of records, Mr. Smythe, to please give us an overview of Oprah requests.
And also, before I do that, I just want to comment. I know, Madam President, you mentioned it with regard to the audit presentation, that districts are required at the time of the audit to provide the audit synopsis. That was the attachment that was on this evening's agenda. And once the board accepts the audit as presented, the board is made public and provided on the district's website on an ongoing basis for reference by the taxpayers and community. So I just wanted to mention that. With regard to Oprah, we report on a monthly basis year to date, and this is related to the July 1 start. We have received 53 Oprah requests. All requests have received a response from the district. 51 of them have received a response and has been closed out. We have one request that has been partially responded to, and that we are still preparing and going to be providing additional documents. And we have one request is pending certifications by the requester as required by the recent amendments to the Oprah law. And to date this year, the district has provided approximately 9,600 pages of government records. So, and with regard to Oprah, if you'll indulge me, again, there's been a number of emails, posts. There's been emails sent to numerous school employees, municipal employees, Wall police officers, county, state agencies, the media outlets, as well as posting on social media regarding Oprah requests. And it's basically the continued campaign of disseminating false and misleading information. So I guess we're trying to make an attempt to clarify it so that those watching tonight or going to watch in the future are provided with accurate information. Statements that Oprah responses were or are overdue are false. They are not and have been not. The district, one in particular has to do with Oprah requests for attorney invoices. And just so people are aware, when a request is made to a district or a public entity for an invoice, Government Records Council considers that an immediate access document. So most people have the idea that we have 7 days to provide a response or provide an extension. If it's an immediate access document, we are to provide those records immediately. That is sometimes subjective what that means. If we get a Oprah request at 3:55 in the afternoon and don't see it, it may be the following day that we provide it, but we look to provide them immediately, meaning the same day. Request for attorney bills that was received at the beginning of December did receive a response the same day, and it received all the attorney invoices that the district was in possession of at that time. Request was for September, October invoices. We provided the September invoices and whatever October invoices we had, and if there was invoices that we had not yet received, obviously they were not provided. And I just want to clarify that we don't provide the records once they come in. The custodians of records are not required, nor are they expected to produce documents or provide documents that may have been requested in the past if and when they do become available or do in fact become a public record for the school district. We don't do that. What would be required is an additional Oprah request for the records at a future date. And that is, in fact, after 2 weeks of complaining that Oprah requests are overdue, A request was recently received, and any additional invoices that the district provided or had received was in fact provided in response to that. Also, just to clarify for, if I can, as the board secretary, part of these emails or chain of emails is a suggestion to have our 2 board members elect attend executive session meeting tonight with the Board of Education. And the suggestion that like not having them attend is because the board is trying to hide something from them. In a word, if I could say it, is ridiculous. So executive session is for the purpose of discussing confidential matters and having individuals that are not yet sworn into office, noting that they can't be sworn in at this time. New board members cannot be sworn in until the board reorganizes, and to have individuals in an executive session meeting prior to them being sworn in would be inappropriate. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smythe. Do we have any members of the board that would like to contribute to the board report? Mr. Buffa?
Madam President, I just want to, I'm not going to try to say other things because everybody else already captured the sentiment, but definitely going to miss you and Adam both, and I've really enjoyed my time on the board with you, and thank you for your service.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Mao?
I'd like to share my thanks as well. I can certainly, Dr. Handerhan expressed everything so wonderfully. Christine and Adam, your contributions to the board, to this board, since the time I've been here and before, certainly have been tremendous. Adam, working with you on the Finance and Facilities Committee was an eye-opening. Your professional experience was so important to that committee and to the work that has been done there, to the referendum work that still has a lot to go. And you've laid a great foundation for that, and I hope that you are going to be very pleased with what we are going to be able to continue to do, which you have so much had a part of. And I thank you so much for that. And your service as Vice President. Christine, your comments tonight highlight why you have been such an excellent and passionate, not only board member, but president. It has been an absolute pleasure to serve with you. I think that you have guided the board tremendously, and you have worked hard right up until last evening, working very hard on something. And I cannot express my gratitude or the gratitude that the town should have for you and for Adam for what you have done for this board. I appreciate our former board members coming out, Aaron and Chris and Andy, to show their appreciation for you guys. And I just wish you the very best. I hope that maybe some of us can call on you in the future if we get stuck on some things. And I know that you will provide us with some good answers. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. DiGiovanni.
Yes, again, I just want to share my colleague's sentiment of thanks. Adam, I do not know what I'm going to do on FNF without you. You have a way of just whispering in my ear and explaining to me in about 5 words what takes Mr. Smythe about 30. So I do appreciate that. Tom, I'm sorry for what's facing you on FNF as you have to sit in that stead. Christine, you have been a mentor to me coming onto this board. Your grace and an articulate manner of which and unparalleled professionalism has been an inspiration, and I just hope that we make you guys proud. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. That's it for our board report. Thank you. Thank you for your kind words. Okay, committee reports. Our committee minutes are published online. Do any of my committee chairs have anything to add? Okay. Seeing none, we're going to be moving into our second public comment. Again, if you have any perspectives to share, we've got the podium at the bottom of the stairs and at the top of the stairs. Please come forward. Do we have anyone for public comment? You okay?
Betsy Cross, I live in Wall. The two new members could have sat in for executive session. It's been done in the past. It's been done plenty of times at municipal, so it can be done. I know you're shaking your head, Athena, but it can.
It cannot.
Let's see. I just wanted to read that claim. It says Fund Year 0809, member Wall BOE, claim number 000266, claimant S. Young, total authority requested $1,545,358.60. So I'll give a copy to, I think, the co-stars here tonight, and they can follow up with you. If you're saying it's not that, I guess you should go back to the school excess liability fund and ask them to correct their report. And C. Lou, A. Marion, J. Pagano, those are all on the diploma GIF fund, where Mr. Smythe is a voting trustee. And Dennis McKeever, your attorney, is their attorney, which to me is a conflict of interest.
Dennis McKeever is not the attorney for the Wall Board of Education. He's the attorney for the DIP GIF. Thank you.
So you keep sending in bills. You just had a bill from him regarding a lawsuit. So that just came back, I guess, yesterday for $577 from Dennis McKeever's firm for an education lawsuit. So maybe you didn't see it, Athena, but it came back.
Your information's not current, Ms.
Okay,
Cross.
I'm
Thank you.
talking now.
Thank you.
Certificate of Excellence, I think, is for 22-23. So I think, Ms. Handerhan, you were congratulating Brian. I think you congratulated him last year. We're talking about 23-24. So if it's on there, we'll see. But I don't think we need to congratulate him again for a prior year. I'm surprised at these numbers in F&F minutes. Deficit of $68,000 for food service. The RAP program's negative $29,000. I don't know how we're doing this with the health insurance, but it says Horizon reviewed our stop loss at $125 per person with a few exceptions. Details can be discussed with Mr. Smythe due to confidentiality provisions. So who's going to pay those claims? If it's the 9 of you, that's great, but there shouldn't be a 3-year contract with Brown & Brown again when you can't make heads or tails of anything and there's no presentation to the public on what you're doing with the health insurance. Health benefits, you got one report for November, then you have another one for, it says November 12th to 12/12. Doesn't make any sense. What else? So yeah, the approval for the resolution for the stop loss carrier and the third-party administrator, that should be tabled. I heard about somebody who was beaten in the school till they were bleeding. I mean, that's something that you really should get extra security on and
Thank you,
have
Mrs.
your
Cross.
staff
Your time is up.
protecting the children.
Thank you, Mrs. Cross. Your
Thank
time
you.
is up.
Thanks.
Do we have anyone else for public comment? Seeing none, I'll be closing the floor for public comment. Mr. Smythe?
Yeah, please, just, again, for clarification, I'm not saying that the report put out by the carrier is incorrect. I believe the report is correct. I'm just saying, I'm correcting the statement that Wall Board of Education or the Wall taxpayer is paying a settlement in the amount of $1.5 million. That is not what the report says, and that is an inaccurate statement, as well as the representation that all the other individuals listed and the payment authorities being approved are payments made by the Wall Township Board of Education, because that is not accurate. And also that they are in fact settlements, because I would disagree with the statement that they are in fact settlements. These are payment authorities. That is part of the process that the GIF follows in handling claims that are made. With regard to the Certificate of Excellence, I believe that was in fact clarified, that the Certificate of Excellence that is included in the audit is the Certificate of Excellence that was received for the 22-23 audit. I will note that the congratulations issued last year by Dr. Handerhan for that certificate was for the year prior to that, which would have been the 21-22 audit. And yes, we are optimistic that we will receive the same certificate of excellence for the audit that was presented tonight. With regard to the contract reference that we awarded, or are awarding a contract with with Brown & Brown for 3 years is incorrect. The contract is for third-party administrative services provided by Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield, who is our third-party administrator for our self-insurance health benefit plan. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I add to that?
Yes.
So with regard to the enterprise account balances, it's important to understand that we report out, and the business office reports out to us on a P&L basis for the year. If there are balances in the enterprise accounts, as there is in our food service fund, and we are investing into our facilities for equipment or other capital items, it will show a negative balance because we're spending down the balance. That was noted in the minutes. I'd also like to add that for confidentiality purposes, we do that because our stop loss is limited to $125,000. If we have lasers, which are higher limits on certain employees, and there's fewer of them, by pointing them out or putting that number into the minutes, it would identify those individuals similar to our testing results when we report them out. So that is the reason for that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, at this time, may I please have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Mr. Wondrak, may I have a second? Mr. Nasser, Mr. Smythe.
Okay, take a roll call on item 12 for the consent agenda. Mr. Anizia?
Yes, but I'm going to abstain. Number 7 on the HR report for number 1. It's a family member.
Noted. Ms. Barbier?
Yes.
Mr. Buffer?
Yes, but going to abstain from 17E as it pertains to me.
Noted. Ms. DiGiovanni?
Yes, and will abstain from 17E as it pertains to myself.
Noted. Mr. Malice?
Yes.
Mr. Nasser?
Yes.
Ms. Shipka? Oops, sorry. Mr. Wondrak?
Yes.
And Ms. Stearns?
Yes. Thank you. Prior to adjourning, I would just like to wish everyone a happy holidays, and I would be remiss if I did not also recognize the spirits of all of our friends in the PTOs across the district that raised me and have supported me and supported so many folks on the board. I appreciate all the work that all of our families do in the district to support our kids and celebrate our kids and add magic to their experience here, the things that they're going to remember forever. And I came from those ranks, and I will be eternally grateful. I wish everyone a happy holiday, and I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Can we make a motion to adjourn? Board?
Second.
Mr. Nasser, all in favor? Any abstentions? Anyone would like to vote no? Anyone opposed? All right, guys, that's a wrap.
Mr. Nasser and Ms. Stites have a